comes from the Bushido Samurai. The Bushido Samurai, they have a 753 code, and it's broken into 3 sections, right? 753, the 7 virtues of a warrior, the 5 keys to health, and the 3 states of mind. The 7 virtues of a warrior are as follows: rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness/propriety, honesty, sincerity, honor, loyalty. The 5 keys to health: rational nutrition, sensible exercise, efficient rest, proper hygiene, and a positive attitude. 3 states of mind: alertness, clear mind, and emotional balance. The alertness is also awareness, also preparedness.
So, income inequality, this is something I think we've all thought about. You know, I was working on that topic when I was still at Goldman Sachs, and
in which direction? Well, you're working on increasing it.
Yeah, like a wider,
but I think
philosophy was developed by the Valenti brothers, 753, and the samurai principles of the Bushido. They teach jiu-jitsu, so they're practitioners of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but they take the samurai principles of Bushido, which literally means the way of the warrior, and they developed it and they took it from a different group because the samurai developed this code to keep themselves from straying too far from a righteous path. So the 7 virtues of a warrior: rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness, honesty, honor, loyalty. 5 keys to health: rational nutrition, sensible exercise, efficient rest, proper hygiene, positive attitude. 3 states of mind: Zanshin, which is awareness, Mushin, clear mind, and Fudushin. Pueblo County Treasurer, you have a lot of people's positions. You have like 18 different positions that are up for re-election come November 6, 2018. So one of the positions is the treasurer, also the clerk and recorder, the District 3 County Commissioner, the assessor. But the current Pueblo County Treasurer is Del Olivas. I'm not sure how he pronounced his last name, but Del. So Mr. Del, he has a nice set of hair. He's got a full set of hair, right? He's got a nice tan, and he looks like he's got, many young, vibrant years in him. He seems strong. He seems healthy, and that's the treasurer for Pueblo County. Pueblo County Treasurer, the office is responsible for the collection of all real estate, personal property, manufactured housing, and state-assessed taxes. So they're the tax collector. Real estate taxes, personal property taxes, manufactured housing, and state-assessed taxes. They're located in the first floor of the county courthouse, 215 West 10th Street, Pueblo, Colorado 81003. Their office hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, except legal holidays. You can call them at 719-583-6015. He was first elected in 2010, but it says he only served 1 term. That doesn't make any sense. He's been in there for 8 years. He has completed 1 term, perhaps, but he was elected 8 years ago, and his current term is going to end next year at the end. That's Mr. Dell. Mr. Dell is Pueblo County's treasurer. He is the tax collector. He's the main tax collector for the entire county of Pueblo County. So for 160,000 people. Now, like I said, there's lots of positions. I just wanted to just sort of highlight 2 folks. Randy Reeves. Now, Randy Reeves, this is what he looks like. He has a nice little demeanor, right? Seems calm, seems aware. I feel like I could trust the whiteness in his goatee and on the sides of his head. It seems like he's got some experience and wisdom, right? So I kind of trust that. He seems, he's light-skinned, right? So from the land of Caucasia. and he is the surveyor. So Randy Reeves is the county surveyor. And what does the county surveyor do? Well, let me tell you, the county surveyor, this is from the county website. It's responsible for reviewing plats deposited by private surveyors and maintaining them on file. So it seems like they're more of a conduit for the private surveyors. So the private surveyors go ahead and map out a certain spot and then put it on file, and they're like, well, thank you for doing our job for us. The surveyor also investigates boundary disputes and road rights of way. It seems like the surveyor should do that for anybody and everybody, not just investigating boundary disputes, but make sure everybody knows exactly where their property line is. Road rights of way, so it seems like in emergency he'll actually do some surveying. Most of the time he doesn't survey, hardly at all. They're responsible for surveying county-owned properties when a need arises. So they're basically just sitting in their offices all day long waiting for someone who is responsible for surveying county-owned properties when a need arises, investigating boundary disputes and road rights of way, and also depositing the private surveyors and maintaining them on file. The surveyor's office, in conjunction with the county clerk and recorder's office and the information services department, recently scanned over 1,000 survey plats for the Pueblo County website, and they're available to the public free of charge, but they're mainly used by surveyors, engineers, architects, and real estate agencies. So they're pretty much putting the citizen so far out of their mind, it's not even funny. It's the engineers, the architects, real estate agencies, and other surveyors. That's who they, basically are focused on. The government too, road right-of-ways, boundary disputes, so perhaps their friends and their buddies. Now, I don't know how Randy Reeves or Mr. Dell have actually done their jobs. Let's hear that the Pueblo County surveyor is at 4776 Eagle Ridge Circle, Pueblo, Colorado, 81008. Their phone number is 719-253-0874. So this is Randy Reeves. He's the county surveyor, and this is, I guess, a criticism for both of them. Hopefully they both just are humble and they step down, right? George Washington fought the Revolution, led the country for 8 years, stepped down as a humble, nice Cincinnatus, right? A Mr. Warman comes out. He's a private farmer, fights the war, wins the war, and then goes back to being a private farmer, does not maintain tyranny, does not stick around and maintain tyranny. Both Randy Reeves and Mr. Dell have been in there for 8 years, since 2010, so they've already done their 2 terms. They need to elevate themselves and elevate somebody else into, to be very clear, they should have already had some sort of intern or some staff or somebody that's working with them that knows the county surveyor, that knows the deal, that has a good rudimentary knowledge of the system and what it is that they actually do there. The surveyor and the treasurer, both of them have been in there for 8 years. They've been in there for 8 years, according to their own website. And so since they've been in there for 8 years, they need to move on. They need to do something else. They need to become state representative, become a regent for the University of Colorado, but you need to elevate somebody else, have a successor, pick a successor to be the surveyor or the treasurer, because after 8 years, if somebody runs for 12 years for another 4-year term, they can assume themselves to be surveyor for life or treasurer for life. And I don't like that. I want new blood, and I'm generally against the income. 2018 is looking to be a huge year for not just Pueblo County and Pueblo City and the state of Colorado, but for the United States. It's the midterm election. So you have a lot of state U.S. representatives that's going to be up for re-election. The 2 senators are not up for re-election, but all the U.S. representatives, including District 3, Scott Tipton, he's a Republican who got 58% of the vote. He got nearly 160,000 votes when he got elected into office, 2 years ago or so. So it's huge. There's a whole bunch of elections. So you got the U.S. representative here, if you're in Pueblo County, that you could run for, the Attorney General, all the state executive positions, so the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, the State Treasurer, the Governor, the Vice Governor. Hickenlooper, he won the governor's the governor's race by 977,000 votes. I am sort of focused on my geopolitical situation, but I should pay attention to all of these U.S. representative races because there's 5 of them or so, right? So all of them are important, but since they don't represent me, it's hard to sort of pay attention to them. So how many people are running for office right now? Technically speaking, you live in Pueblo, then what can you run for, right? You're 18 and you've been living here for a year or 2 or 3, so you could run for governor, you could run for vice governor, you could run for state treasurer, secretary of state, attorney general, U.S. representative, District 3 state reps, 46, 47, and 62. There's 2 elections with the regents of the University of Colorado. Since Pueblo has no representation, there's 1 at-large seat, and then the 3rd district seat held by Republican Glenn Gallegos, 970-471-2671. As a citizen, we could call our representatives up and just ask him, hey, what do you do for us? So Glenn Gallegos, he's been, representing the 3rd district. He's been representing me for the regents of the University of Colorado. I'm guessing he's going to do it again. He's a Republican from Grand Junction, elected to the board 2013, 4 years ago. So they go by congressional districts. That's the 3rd district. That's Scott Tipton's district. That's Glenn Gallegos. So we need somebody from Pueblo. We have no representation. The at-large seat is being held by Stephen C. Ludwig, and the 3rd district seat is from a Republican from Grand Junction. So Pueblo is not being heard whatsoever when it comes to the regents of the University of Colorado. We need some representation when it comes. It was 11, the county commissioner, District 3, Sal Pace, Pace, I don't know. He's the commissioner for the District 3. Salvador Torres, he announced his campaign. Sal Pace is not running, so this is an open seat. District 3 is an open seat, so that's 12, right? That's 12 positions. So then the Pueblo County Clerk and Recorder, the Pueblo County Treasurer, the Pueblo County Assessor, the Pueblo County Sheriff, the Pueblo County Surveyor, the Pueblo County Coroner. So the coroner basically goes and looks at a dead body and determines the cause of death. The coroner is one of the few people that could arrest the sheriff if they believe that the sheriff was involved in the cause of death. The surveyor, the assessor, say they assess the taxes. The surveyor surveys the land. The treasurer comes in and collects all that money, and the sheriff enforces all of it, and it goes into the pockets of big 18 elections. That's 18 individual elections. Anybody from my political, geography, this is 18 elections. If you live in Pueblo County, you can run for 18 elections. There's also probably going to be some judge retention elections. Vote no for any one of them. The whole judge retention elections, that whole thing is bullshit. The fucking governor appoints all these assholes, and then we're just like, do you like them or not? And we're just, yes, 75%. Everybody votes yes for them. It's like they don't actually understand the question. We don't have a choice. They're forcing it, do you want or not want? Let's say no. Let's see what happens if we say no. And then there's also going to be ballot initiatives, probably from the state, from the county, and from the city. So expect some ballot initiatives, expect some judge retention elections, but there's 18 individual elections. Hopefully David Soroto, the journalist, he jumps in there, but for right now, I am a Polis. Jared Polis, he's in Congress right now, so he's got political power. I like the way he campaigns. I like how he's forthright. I like how he stands up for what he believes. He did agree with universal health care for our state. So if we don't get a national health care system, he says he wants, not even Kerry Kennedy couldn't even say that. He actually cares about the children of Colorado. He wants universal health care by any means necessary. If we can't do it nationally, federally, we're going to do it here in the state. So I like that. That's a brave stance. He's a progressive. Jared Polis is very progressive. He does have charter schools and private schools, but Sudbury is a private school, and they believe in freedom and democracy. So that's not disqualifying. I really like Jared Polis. Eric Underwood, he's a Republican. Don't trust a fucking word out of his mouth. And then Michael Schroeder is anti-marijuana, so he's a right-wing fascist. Schroeder and Underwood are run for governor, then you could run for state treasurer. Right now you have Walker Stapleton. He's term limited, and so it's an open seat. You want to become the state treasurer. You don't want to just collect taxes in Pueblo County. Mr. Dell could go become a state treasurer. He's been doing this treasurer work for 8 years. He would be just as qualified as probably all the other candidates that run for office. So, elevate himself, replace himself with somebody else, and then we're all, there's plenty of room for all of us. So that's what's going on with the state treasurer, the secretary of state. Right now you have Willie Wayne Williams. He's in there. He's eligible for re-election to a second term. He's actually very impressive and very smart. He knows what's going on. I like both Jenna Griswold and Gabriel MacArthur better. I like Gabriel a little bit better, but I think they're both way better in terms of policy than Wayne Williams. So they need to debate so they get better. If Jenna Griswold or Gabriel MacArthur hears me, do Lincoln Douglas debates all across the state. Do Lincoln Douglas debates all across the state and talk about every progressive idea under the sun and come up with a great, incredible progressive candidate. I think by debating each other, they'll hone each other's skills and tactics. They'll challenge each other and say, well, what's your plan for this? What's your plan for that? And they'll become more developed. They'll show how we're supposed to talk to each other in a democracy. I think they can be extraordinarily, respectful. Just go after policy. Policy is totally fair game, 100%. So just go in with policy, and I would love that. I would be paying attention to every single one of those debates. It would be fascinating. It would be interesting. It would be good for the Democratic Party. It would be good for both Jenna and Gabriel because you'd get all that attention leading up to the general election. So they have an uphill battle. Wayne Williams is a very formidable candidate. Brockler was running for governor, and now he's not. So George Brockler is now merely running for attorney general. He might get it. The Republican Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman is running for governor, so I don't know if she's term limited or what's going on with that, but we don't have an attorney general. It's an open seat. She's running for governor. George Brockler is dropped out of the governor's race to run for the attorney general's race. So that's, Pueblo County, run for attorney general, run for secretary of state or state treasurer or governor and vice governor. The U.S. Representative, Scott Tipton, he doesn't represent us. If you look at the actual map of Scott Tipton, you got the western slopes. So you got all those really wealthy, fancy people, but a lot of rural people too. And then you have Pueblo. So it's all the western slopes, and then you got this section of Pueblo that's just kind of thrown in there. And it's gerrymandering is what it is. It nullifies any of the progressive working class base, and that's why we don't have any representation. And Tipton is the Republican. He had won in 2016, so just last year, right? So, elections are already upon us. He beat the Democrat by a substantial margin. He got 160,000 votes, 58% versus 98,000, 36% of the vote. Abel Tapia, that was the Democrat who got beat by Scott Tipton in 2016. So because we're gerrymandered out of this, we're in a right-wing Republican district. And so Pueblo County does not have any representation in the Congress, in the U.S. Congress of the United States government, in the federal government. Which sucks. The state representative, you have District 46, 47, and 62. 47, Judy Ryer just got in there. So really, I want to see Jason Muniz jump in there right now. So we're talking about this in Christmas. I heard about Denaya S. Gar. She's an independent. Her email, the phone number 303-866-2968. I hear she's progressive, and I like a lot of the stuff that she writes about and talks about. So I like her. I think that I would have a hard time challenging her if I lived in her district. I'm not sure whose district I live in. I want to say 47. I think I live in 47, but it could be 46. I think it's 46. But there's 3 House districts in Pueblo County. House District 62, House District 46, and 47. So Jason Muniz, let's just assume he ran against her, the old person before. So just the illusion, just the narrative, just the basically Judy Ryer just got in there, so Jason Muniz jumps in. I think he takes that narrative away. He looks more serious. He's got more public appeal, and he's way back. State House District 62, Representative Donald Valdez is in there. His phone number is 303-866-2916. Jason Muniz had lost to Clarice Navarro-Ratzlaff by 5,000 votes. Clarice got about 22,000 votes. He got 16,000 votes. And that was Judy Ryer, right? So Judy Ryer, Clarice isn't even stepping in there, right? She said she's going to do this and do that for a state representative, and then as soon as Trump says, hey, you want to work with me? She's like, fuck you, Pueblo County, and went and did her own selfish private things, right? Left behind her adoring public, all of her fans. She was supposed to represent us, and she's not even in there anymore. So since Judy's brand new, Jason's brand new, he seems more serious. I would be listening to everything that Jason or anybody of a Jason Muniz caliber kind of quality. Here's the State Senate District 3, Leroy M. Garcia Jr. He's the Democratic Party candidate, 28,000 votes versus 23,000 votes. George Rivera had lost. So Leroy M. Garcia is our state senator for District 3, Leroy M. Garcia Jr. 2 elections, I already mentioned this with the Regents of the University of Colorado, but there's an at-large position, Stephen C. Ludwig. I don't know if he's stepping down, but I think it's an open seat. And then the 3rd district seat is held by a Republican, Glenn Galagos. So therefore, there's no chance of any kind of, well, there are some Republican, progressive Republicans. So I guess I can't dismiss anybody. I'm giving everybody a chance. I want to, you've seen Babe. You had the sheepdog talking shit about the sheep talking shit about sheepdogs, but really what did Babe learn? That if you can see what Babe taught me is that you judge people by their own volition, by their own character. So people can give you an idea, right, to criticize that person, I don't like so-and-so. But a lot of times I think they want you to like them, and so they're enemies. You want their enemies to be your enemies. So that's the way it goes. So Glenn Galagos, right? So 3rd district seat by the Regents of the University of Colorado. How many times has the Regents ever asked you for your opinion? What the fuck do the Regents even do? These big national statewide elections, I feel like a lot of people, regular citizens, would feel very intimidated by them, but like just take a look at the state representative seats or the state Senate seats. They pass one law every year. So there's a lot of prestige and honor in the thing, but very little power. So the Regents of the University of Colorado, 64 counties total in Colorado. So you got 64 counties, and the county positions in every single one of these counties are up for election. So you got essentially electoral revolutions. You got elections every single county. The governor's race is up there. All the statewide executive offices and all of the county positions are up for election. So the county clerk and recorder. So that would be the elections branch, right? They didn't even publish the city turnout rate. What the hell's going on there? Pueblo County Elections Department doesn't have a city turnout rate. So when you go to gather signatures, they go with the county rate, but that doesn't make any sense because we're doing city. So we would need the city turnout rate. And then they also shut down all the past elections. They had nice files of all these past elections, the numbers and the total ballots and the information, but they deleted them all. Nobody can see them anymore. See, the District 3 Commissioner, Sal Pace, is an open seat. That's the county commissioner, county clerk and recorder, the county treasurer, the county assessor, the county sheriff, the county surveyor, the county coroner. The judge retention elections. The qualifications to be a judge. To serve on a district court, a judge must be A, a qualified elector in the district, B, licensed to practice law in the state for 5 years, and C, under the age of 72, retirement by 72 is mandatory. And that's it. So if you're not a lawyer, fuck you. You can never become a fucking judge. Only the lawyers can become judges. Only corrupt, lying lawyers can become the people that judge over the rest of us. Makes you think about the state of Franklin. They were going to ban all doctors and lawyers from ever being in government whatsoever. Here we do the exact opposite. Only lawyers can become judges. Only one more time, all the governor's races. You got Jared Polis, who's a U.S. representative right now. David Sirota would be the best goddamn fucking progressive governor we've ever seen in our entire lives. But I don't feel like he'll actually jump into it. Jared Polis is a strong candidate, and he's a super progressive on many issues. He's already talking about universal health care for the state. Kerry Kennedy didn't even show that courage for that. She did say she's in favor of the legalized marijuana movement. She said that she would stand up to the bankers. She did not say she would get us universal health care. Noel Ginsburg, I like his Sweden plan. Noel Ginsburg has an education model which comes from Sweden. You have businesses project 5 to 10 years, tell us what kind of jobs you're going to need, and then get with the schools and, get internships. 17-year-old, get them in working and, in the job. 30% are going to go to college. 70% are going to need to learn a trade. Johnson is a former state senator. I'm not impressed with Mike Johnson. I feel like I'm supposed to like Mike Johnson a lot better. He's got a lot of money and he's got a lot of backing, so he'll be taken serious. But I'm not excited about him. He seems too polished, too, perfect. I don't want to say he's perfect. I just feel like he's just poll-driven or something. I don't know. But Kerry Kennedy, Donna Lynn, the current Lieutenant Governor, Jared Polis. Kerry Kennedy was a former Colorado State Treasurer, former CFO and Deputy Mayor of Denver. Noel Ginsburg's a businessman. So those are the people running for governor right now in the Democratic Party. Adam Garrity is too. Moses Humes, who's a transvestite, if you want somebody that will, never pull their dick out when they're out in office. Moses Humes is there. It's a transvestite. It's a transvestite perspective. We should treat Moses Humes just like any and everybody else who is running. Representative Ed Perlmutter has already withdrew from the race, and so did George Brockler. I don't know why George Brockler withdrew from the race. Maybe he felt as Attorney General he could, fuck more people. He would have more power, right? There's more power with it. I don't know. I wonder what discussions went behind the scenes, because he was running for governor for months, and he looked like the front runner, like nobody could beat him. So the fact that he stepped down, thank you, Republicans, for whatever y'all did. Thank you for making George Brockler step down. Now the Democrats actually have a chance. So the Republicans, Stephen Barlock, Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman, Larimer County Commissioner Lou Gator, former Park Mayor Greg Lopez, former State Rep Victor Mitchell, Doug Robinson, Jim Runberg, Joanne Silva, Walker Stapleton, Tancredo. So they'll figure it out amongst themselves. The Constitution Party has George Allen Cantrell, a bunch of independents, not just Constitution Party, George Allen Cantrell. I don't know what the fuck the Greens are doing. I don't see any Greens in Pueblo whatsoever, and I barely see any Greens when it comes to state politics. It's kind of embarrassing. I have to do more myself because I'm a Green for now, but it does seem like you would have more power being an unaffiliated independent voter instead of being identified with any political party. So George Allen Cantrell is part of the Constitution Party, which would be an independent party. Then independents themselves, Matthew Wood, Michael Wilborn, Corey Paul Starkey, Richard Osada, Bill Hammonds, Kathleen Cunningham. So they got to get their message out somehow. So that's all the governor's candidates, state treasurer, secretary of state, attorney general. There's no U.S. Senate seat. There is a U.S. rep, Scott Tipton. Actually, all the U.S. representatives are up for election, but Scott Tipton is in my district, and Scott, some deadlines for the elections for the Colorado House of Representatives, specifically in 2018. The open primary election is June 26th. So that's when the open primary election is going to be, late in June 26, 2018. The general election is in November 6, 2018. The candidate filing deadline is March 20th, 2018 for major party candidates. So March 20th, get your nomination in by March 20th. There is an April 2nd, 2018 deadline for minor party candidates. And so that's right around the corner. There's a July 12th, 2018 deadline for unaffiliated candidates, and all 65 House seats are up for election. Colorado state representatives serve 2-year terms, with all seats up for election every 2 years. So this is a habitual thing, every 2 fucking years, all the representatives in the state and in the federal, 2 seats in the 7-member state board of education that are up for election, but none for Pueblo. The 2nd district and the 4th district being held by Angelica Schroeder and Pam Mazanek. The Pueblo 3rd district is Joyce Rankin from Carbondale. So we got a Republican from Carbondale. We got a Republican from Grand Junction. So do they represent us? Are they speaking on our behalf? Nobody knows. Nobody's paying attention. Give me a fucking break. You think the damn chieftain is on this? Yeah, right. They want big business. They're just hobnobbing with the rich and powerful. And they barely tell you anything that you need to know in order, if you're a citizen, they're not a good informative rag. Okay. So the State Board of Education, there's 2 seats, but none for Pueblo directly. Regents, there's 3 seats on the 9-member Board of Regents. Those seats matter for Pueblo. I think the 5th district seat is for Colorado Springs or something, but the 3rd district is being held by Glenn Galagos, 970-471-2671. He's a Republican from Grand Junction, but he doesn't represent Pueblo, nor does the regent of Pueblo, the Glenn Galagos. Oh, okay, that's the yeah, so neither does Joyce Rankin, the State Board of Education. We have no representation on the State Board or on the University of Colorado Regent Board. So, come on, Pueblo, we got to up our game here. We got to be heard. We got to stand up and be heard. And we need some representation on the Regents in the State Board of Education. So, that's all the county positions, right? Assessor, County Commissioner, District 3, Clerk and Recorder. Tipton, him being a Republican Trump shill, he's doing whatever the fuck Trump tells him to do. He's a good rank-and-file Republican. So, Scott R. Tipton, he's all about raising the taxes on the middle class with this big tax bill, this big plutocratic giveaway. And he's for all the wars. He's for, interventionism. So let's the coroner, judge retention elections. Only the rich and powerful get any of the judges' positions. The Supreme Court, Appeals Court, the County Court, the 10th Judicial District, only lawyers. And the judges are initially appointed by the governor. So the governor's race is so fucking important if it's a Democrat or Republican in terms of appointing the judges, the judicial branch of the entire state of Colorado. So they're appointed by the governor with the help of a commission, except in Denver, Colorado, where judges are appointed by the mayor. These strains, they're trying to get the mayor to be able to also appoint their own judges as well. We got municipal judges, we got 10th judicial judges, we got county judges, we got magistrates, we got appeals courts, Supreme Courts, right? So many courts, so many judges, so many judicial branches all over the places. They're all over the place. So Denver, the mayor appoints the judges, not the governor, but that's every other place. The governor appoints the judges. They're initially appointed to 2-year terms, and then they run in so-called retention elections for 4-year terms afterwards. So they're first appointed to 2-year terms, and if they want more, then the question is, do you want to retain so-and-so? So so-and-so is not running against anybody. Basically, do you approve or disapprove? And I'm guessing that it's low education of Colorado voters that 75% of the time these judges are serve on the county court, to serve on any of these courts, the 10th Judicial District branch, to be a judge, you must, to serve on this court, a judge must be a qualified elected and a resident of the county and licensed to practice law in the state. Some small counties only require a high school degree or equivalent, but require judges to attend an institute to learn about county court duties. So some small counties, you can become a judge, even though you're not a lawyer. All you need is a high school degree, and then they require you to go to an institute. So I don't know what kind of institute. Is that the funny forum? They send you to the funny, probably some law school or something. So there's 164 judges on the Colorado District Court system, each appointed by the governor from a list of names compiled by a nominating commission. Initial terms last 2 years.
So income inequality, this is something I think we've all thought about. I was working on that topic when I was still at Goldman Sachs. And
in which direction? You're working on increasing it.
Yeah. Like, why
but I think...
Make a strong distinction. I slightly misspoke. The judges of the county court are nominated by the governor, but for the county courts, they're 2-year terms, and then they run in 4-year terms afterwards. For the 10th Judicial District, for the state courts, for the district courts, where the 164 judges are, that initial term starts out to be 2 years, but then their retention election is 6 years afterwards. So we're giving all these people so much money and so much power and wealth. Oh, you're a lawyer and you made a shit ton of money. Here's more power. Here's more wealth. Here's more of our taxpayer money. You know, I'm sure you, being rich and powerful, will understand what working class is all about. The court's chief judge is appointed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to serve indefinitely. The court's chief judge by the Chief Justice? What? Some power for the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So the governor gets to dictate all the county judges. He gets to dictate all the 164 judges on the district courts. But the Chief Judge of the Supreme Court gets to pick which one of those pile of judges in the 10th Judicial District gets to be the chief. Which one is the chief? Which one is the head judge? Which one is the leader of them all? So that's some power for the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And then again, like I said, there's ballot questions. The DAF in Milwaukee was targeted for recall for making city policy and emails. We had an email scandal here in Pueblo, but some of these scandals just seems like it's wealthy people, you know, using the ballot initiative and referendum against the good people of the earth.